So here today we will discuss the functions of computer first. So computer mainly perform 5 functions that are inputting, taking input, storing that particular input, processing, performing arithmetic or logical operations, or controlling that. Outputting means showing the result. Controlling is comes under the process of processing. Okay, so one by one we will go towards these 5 operations. Inputting means entering data and instructions into a computer. Storing means saving that data and instruction to make it available for initial or additional processing whenever it is required. Processing means performing arithmetic logical operations. Arithmetic means addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and logical means comparing two values. Outputting means showing the result to the in the form of printed reports or visual display. And controlling means directing the manner and sequence in which all the above operations are performed. Okay, so this is about the functions of a computer. Now I would like to tell you some real life scenario examples where we are having a situation and we will find out the input for that situation, process and output of that particular situation. So our first situation is a car running on a road. So this is the situation. So here the input can be petrol or diesel. Okay, so processing means engine starts working with the help of petrol or diesel, and output can be car starts running. Clear? Second situation, calling a person on phone. So here dialing the telephone number of a person is the input, establishing connection and ringing of bell is the processing, and the communication established between two people, that is the output. Okay, third one is withdrawal of a money from ATM. So insertion of ATM card is the input, and then processing of card in ATM machine on the basis of certain rule that the card number is correct or not, that thing. Okay, and the output will be the collection of money. So these are the real life scenarios where we can find input, processing and output. As I told you in previous class that computer works on 3 things, that is input, process and output, IPO. So we will follow that process here also. And in processing, that storing etc, controlling, that comes under the processing. Okay, so see this basic computer organization. Here we are comparing the computer with the human being. Okay, so what we have seen the main functions of computer. First is input unit, second is memory unit, ALU and control unit. So these 3 things comes under the thing that is CPU, central processing unit, and third one is output unit. So we will compare these things with the human being. So input unit in human being is input is received through eyes, nose, ears and mouth. From eyes we can receive the visual things, and from nose we can sense the smell, and ears we can listen things, and with mouth we can speak things. Okay, so these are the input units for human beings. Similarly in computer, input is given through input devices like keyboard, mouse etc. Okay, memory unit in human being, a brain is the storage place. So similarly in computer, data and instruction are stored in memory storage devices. Okay, and we are performing calculations and logical operations in our brain itself. So similarly CPU is known as brain of computer, where arithmetic and logical operations are also performed, and brain also controls the function of our body. So similarly in computer also, control unit performs the functioning of all the components of a computer. Okay, so next one is output unit. So output in human being is in the form of voice or actions, and in computer, after processing, output is displayed on the screen, that is in the form of either hard copy, that is printed form, or it can be in the soft copy form, that is visible to the users on a screen of monitor. Okay, so I think this is clear. Okay, so we have discussed the components of a computer with the with comparison with the components of human beings. Okay, next is a block diagram of a computer. Okay, so here I have given 2 diagrams, one on this page and second one is on the another slide. So you can form any diagram, both diagrams are correct, and this block diagram is very important. Okay, so input unit, it takes program and data in the form of input through input devices, all the input devices, and that these inputs are stored in a storage device, and then according to the instructions, control unit and ALU do the processing of the data. Okay, and then after processing these, all the processing result is provided to the output device to show the information. So data is the input and the processed form of data is known as information that we will receive from the output device. So this diagram, it is showing the diagram of computer, block diagram of computer. Input unit and output unit separately we will discuss in the next chapter, chapter number 2. And here we are discussing the storage unit as well as the central control unit and arithmetic logical unit, that is CPU, we will discuss now. Okay, CPU and memory units further. Okay, so go through this diagram also. Okay, it is a diagram that is same as the previous diagram that we have seen. Okay, so the CPU is further categorized into 3 things, that is memory unit, primary memory and secondary memory, then ALU, arithmetic logical unit, and control unit. So here also a diagram is given that is depicting the whole block diagram of computer. Now next is central processing unit, CPU. The full form is central processing unit, is not control processing unit. Okay, don't get it confused with that. Okay, it consists of 2 parts. Arithmetic logic unit, when it is combined with control unit, it is known as central processing unit. Central processing unit is the brain of computer, and it is responsible for all the activities, for controlling the operation of all the other units of a computer. It is that central processing unit. So here you can see the inside of a CPU, that is the motherboard and that thing, and the CPU is also having a microprocessor chip that you can see here. It is in the form of Intel Core 2 Extreme Quad Core processor. Okay, so this ALU CU we have already discussed, and MMU is memory management unit, main memory unit. Okay, next thing is CPU speed. CPU speed is measured in terms of clock rate. Clock rate means an electronic clock is used in system for measuring the speed of a CPU. So it is just a way of measuring the speed, and measuring unit of CPU speed is hertz. Hertz means the number of calculations done by CPU in 1 second, and when we combine 1000 calculations, then it becomes 1 kilohertz. 1 kilohertz in 1 millisecond. Okay, similarly higher unit is 1 megahertz, that is a microsecond, that is done in microsecond, and next higher unit is gigahertz, that is in gigahertz 1 hour of calculations done in 1 second, or you can say in nanosecond. Okay, so this is the point that can be used in computer performance. Next is memory unit. Memory is categorized into mainly 2 parts, primary memory or secondary memory. Primary memory is also known as main memory, internal memory, and secondary memory is also known as auxiliary memory or external memory. One more memory is also there, that is known as cache memory, and sometimes it is counted in primary memory, but we can represent it separately also. Okay, this primary memory is further categorized into RAM, random access memory, and ROM, read only memory. This RAM is further categorized into SRAM, static RAM, and dynamic RAM. Okay, and you can say DDR RAM. Though 3 or 4 subcategorization is also there, but here in this diagram I have taken only 2 main parts. Okay, ROM is further categorized into PROM, EPROM, EEPROM, and secondary auxiliary memory or external memory is further categorized into 3 parts: hard disk, CD, DVD, Blu-ray disk, or flash drive, CD, SD drive, and pen drive. So now we will discuss this primary memory and secondary memory separately with their full forms, etc. Okay, let's move to the next PPT. Main memory. Main memory means it is the primary memory, or it is also known as internal memory. It is used to process on data. It is also a measure of CPU or computer. Okay, there are 2 types of main memory: random access memory or read-only memory. Whenever our computer starts, it starts with loading of operating system. That is, in our computer you can see that window is there. Okay, so when we start a computer, it will take a time to load the operating system, and that operating system is loaded with the help of ROM, read only memory. Some programs are on that ROM that starts the initialization or loading of a operating system. So these programs are stored on ROM, read only memory. It is only reading that programs. Okay, so that is about ROM. And RAM means random access memory, that is used for doing the current work. So here you can see the diagram or the pictures of RAM and ROM. So starting 3 pictures are of RAM and last picture is of ROM. Next difference between RAM and ROM is that RAM is temporary memory. For example, I have opened a PPT, so that PPT is opened in random access memory. If I will not save it, then it will be not available to me after if I want to see that again. So if I will save it, then it will go to the secondary memory. Whatever work we will do, it comes to the random access memory. Okay, so it is temporary, volatile in nature. Volatile means if power cuts off, then we will not get that data if we have not saved it. Okay, it is used for read and write purposes. And similarly, ROM, it is permanent memory. Non-volatile means it doesn't go vanishes with the power supply, and it is used for reading only. Okay, so this RAM is used for processing, and this ROM is used for basic input output setting, that is loading of an operating system. Okay, so examples of RAM are SRAM, static random access memory, DRAM, dynamic random access memory, DDRAM means double data rate random access memory, RDRAM, rhombus dynamic RAM, and SDRAM means synchronous dynamic random access memory. Similarly, in ROM we are having PROM, programmable ROM, that is we can program it only once at the time of manufacturing. EPROM, it is erasable programmable ROM. The manufacturer can erase this memory with the help of ultraviolet rays, and in this whole data can be erased at a time. And EEPROM is electrically erasable programmable ROM. That means if you want to delete the data, then if you want to, if a manufacturer want to delete the data, it can be deleted with electrical current or rays. Okay, and in this we can the manufacturer can delete the data bit by bit also. Okay, so these are the difference between RAM and ROM. Next memory is secondary memory. It is a permanent memory, or you can relate it with the hard disk of a computer. So if your hard disk is more, then you can save more data on that thing. Or it is similar to the SD card of a phone. So whatever you are opening an app, that app is open in RAM, and if you have saved it, then it will go to your memory card or internal space of your mobile. Okay, pen drive, Blu-ray disc, these comes under the category of secondary memory, and it is also known as permanent memory. Next memory is cache memory. Cache memory is the fastest memory, and it is used for increasing processing speed of a computer, and it is situated at the CPU. Cache memory generally made by a static RAM. So this cache memory we can include it in the primary memory also. So main categorization is primary and secondary, and cache is also sometimes written in the book as a third memory. Okay, so that's it about the memory types of memory. Now we will see the measurement unit of a memory. So smallest measuring unit of memory is bit. Bit means either it is 0 value or 1 value. So if we combine 4 bits, then we can call it a 1 nibble. And if we combine 8 bits, then we can call it a 1 byte. And 8 bit means 2 nibble. Okay. So 1 kilobyte is equal to 1024 bytes. 1 megabyte is 1024 KB, higher unit than kilobyte. Then gigabyte is the more higher unit than the megabyte. Then terabyte, then petabyte, zettabyte, and yottabyte. So these are the memory measuring units of memory. Okay. So next topic is classification of computers. See, here is the diagram of classification of computer. It is classified on the basis of 3 things. First is on the basis of application or data, it is categorized into three parts: analog computer, digital computer, and hybrid computer. And on the basis of size and capacity, the computers that we are using are digital computer. So this digital computer is further categorized into four categories, that is supercomputer, mainframe computer, mini computer, and microcomputer. And on the basis of purpose or use, we can say it is further categorized into two parts, that is general purpose or special purpose. This microcomputer is further classified into two categories. First is desktop, laptop, ultrabook, tablets, and second one is a smartphone. So this is about the classification of computer. Now we are going to discuss the analog computer first, then digital computer, hybrid computer, and then the super, mainframe, mini, microcomputers, etc. Okay, so let's start with the analog computer. Analog computers are the computers that take data in the form of continuous signal. There are two types of signal. One is analog, that is in the form of wave, and second one is digital in the form of a 0 1 bytes. So here analog computers, they take the continuous signal in the form of waves, and the movement of data is continuous. So the example of analog computers are automobile speedometer and voltmeter, etc. These digital computers, they are the computers that use the data in a form of discrete form, that is 0 and 1 form, that is not continuous wave. So these digital computers examples are digital watch, desktop computer, laptop, etc. And hybrid, as the name suggests, it is the combination of analog as well as digital computers. So these hybrid computers are used in health sector for measuring heartbeat or ECG system in ICU. You can say that in machines they are taking input of pulse. Okay, pulse rate. So pulse rate is in an analog form, and then it is converted into computer in the form of digital signal. So it is just an example of hybrid computer. It is using analog as well as digital signals to form the required result. Is it clear? So next is classification on the basis of purpose. So general purpose computer, that means they are used for general purpose work like banks, education, sales, etc. Special purpose computer means they are used in special applications like weather forecasting, weapon designing, mineral finding, and research. This special purpose computers, this supercomputer is, it also comes in the category of special purpose computers. So types of digital computers, first one we will discuss the supercomputer. Supercomputer is the fastest computer. It is very much powerful. It is having a high speed. It is large in size, or you can say it requires a one full room, or it is in the form of cupboards, etc. It is used in complex scientific purposes and missile launch, satellite communication, bomb testing, and it cost varies from 1 million to 5 million. And some example of supercomputers are Cray 1, Cray 2, Cray XMP. Paramparam is India's supercomputer. Okay. So here you can see the image of supercomputer. There are three types of supercomputers shown here. One is Tata supercomputer, second is Eka supercomputer, and third one is a supercomputer that is used in NASA Corporation. Okay, so you can see the size, and it is having high speed processors, etc. It is specifically used in the weather forecasting, weapon testing, these applications. Okay, mineral finding. Next is mainframe computers. Mainframe computers, their speed is slow as compared to supercomputer, but they are also very high speed computer. Fast computers, their main memory is approx 256 MB to 30 GB. You can say that our computer, we are having a main memory means ram of 2 GB or 4 GB. So as compared to that, see the size of the ram here. It consists of 256 MB to 32 GB ram. So it is very fast. The speed of computer depends on the ram. Okay, thousands of users can work on these computers continuously. AC is must for these computers, and they are used in online data storage, that is used by air ticketing, broadcasting system, central payment system, and they are if we connect them with a satellite, then they can create a national, international network. Okay, examples, name of the systems of mainframe computers are PDP 370, IBM 40, IBM Z series. So these are the examples of mainframe computer. And here you can see the image of the mainframe supercomputers. Okay. Next is mini computers. Mini computer is also known as mid-range computer. Their speed is slow as compared to supercomputer and mainframe computer, but they are also high speed computers, fast computers, and they are small in size. Memory size is approx 64 MB to 16 MB. Here main memory means we are talking about the RAM and ROM, but slower than the supercomputer and mainframe computer. And it is mainly used in research work for making the servers, engineering, and education department. And they are the size. They occupy the size of similar to washing machine, you can say. So examples are CDC 1700, PDP 11, PDP 45, etc. These are the name of the systems only. Okay. Next are microcomputers. Microcomputers are widely used by us. So in microcomputers, the computers that we use in general purpose, they comes under the category of microcomputers. So smaller, they are portable. Portable is movable. They use microprocessor mainly for single purpose. Size of memory varies from 16 MB to 8 GB. Examples: desktop, laptop, palm top, tablet, etc. So here are the images of these types of computers. So you can see here laptop computer, micro computer, and tablets, and you can see here laptop. Okay, so these are the images. Handheld devices, special devices that are having the embedded system, embedded and inbuilt system. That smartphone, smart watches that we are wearing, that comes under the category of micro computers. Now next we are talking about the computer performances. Computer performance means the things that are related with the performance of computer. So CPU speed is the main measurement of computer performance, and CPU speed is measured in terms of hertz, and that we already discussed that it is the clock rate that is measuring the CPU speed. So it is also called clock rate, and this is a measure of how many clock cycles a CPU can perform per second. If the CPU with a clock speed of 2 gigahertz can perform to this much, that you can see the amount clock cycles per second. Okay, so higher the speed means faster task performance of a CPU. So okay, next is RAM. RAM means main memory. If the amount of RAM is large enough to hold the information, this may result in faster performance. If RAM is more, then your processing speed, you can say your computer is performing well. And hard disk means the size and speed of hard disk is also plays an important or crucial role for the computing device. So the faster is the speed, the better will be the overall performance of a computer. So in performance we can count mainly three things, that is CPU speed, second is RAM, and third is hard.